Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high level best of 3. Today we have in the bottom left as our red Terran player playing for Team Liquid, it's Melem's Clem. And in the top right as our blue Zerg player playing for Team GGG, it's going to be Rattata. Not a Pokemon, but of course the Russian player formerly known as Vanya. We'll see what this best of 3 brings us, as Clem has been, well, I don't want to say struggling in Terran vs Zerg. He's obviously still one of the best Terran vs Zerg players worldwide, but he isn't quite as dominant anymore as he was a year ago, as he was 7-8 months ago. He's mortal. We've seen him lose against a lot of players, and Rattata is one of those players that could take games away from Clem. Rattata is an experienced Roach player, someone that likes to really bring the aggression to the Terran rather quickly. He's also a accomplished Mutaling Bane player, so there's a couple of options here that definitely are available for Rattata to play. Clem opens up with his standard Reaper into that quick second gas, and although it is 2k atmosphere, we're not going to be seeing a very quick command center. Refinery being built instead, factory already on the way, so we're going to have a rather quick Hellions, honestly. Fast starport with that as well. You could just be seeing something along the lines of maybe like 8 Hellion, double Banshee from that double gas opener. It is still quite common. Single Link is going to get taken out. Creep Tumor does get thrown down practically immediately. I don't think Rattata is going to be too upset by this whatsoever. That Creep Tumor was really fast. That means that the second Creep Tumor can also go down rather fast, of course. Once the cooldown is off of it. There we go. Creep Tumor should start building. The moment Rattata feels confident that he can keep it alive. Speed researching, no more gas mining going on. We'll have to take a look to see what Clem is planning exactly here. You see the depot being built already, tech lab as well as a starport. Yeah, this kind of smells like Banshee. We've seen him play Raven builds before on this map, but if I recall correctly, that always was with a triple CC opener. I can't remember a Raven start. Ooh, okay, cool. I can't remember a Raven start with a double gas. It's not going to be a Banshee though, it's actually going to start with a Liberator here. It's kind of interesting. It's been a long time since I've seen a straight Liberator opener rather than Viking into Liberator. Viking into Liberator is also not very common, but still more common than Liberator first. Because with the Liberator first, you don't have any tool to force these Overlords out of position. And if these Overlords are still in position, well, you can just see the Liberator come. You can position your Queens in the correct spots, and it really should not be too much trouble. On top of that, pulling away drones is pretty much a counter to the Liberator, and Rattata should be quick enough. I'm actually curious to see if Clem will be capable of dealing any damage with this whatsoever, and I'm kind of skeptical, honestly. Open up with 6 cars, Liberator, straight away into the next 2 barracks. Stim already halfway done as well, so definitely wants to start putting on the pressure with some double medevacs later on. His plan was to dive all along, I think. There's almost no links available, only 7. Evo Chamber does get built. Spores already going up in the main base, and now with this chaos, perhaps the Liberator will be capable of taking a couple of drones out. No, only 1 drone is going to fall. Spore finishes up. This Queen is dealing a fair amount of damage, and this is the part that sucks so much when you're building that Liberator, right? Is that the moment you take any damage whatsoever, it basically becomes, you can't heal it. It's not like an Oracle where the shields regenerate. It just is kind of useless. And at least with the Banshees, you have your cloak. You often have the ability to one-shot a couple of workers while running away. You can maybe deny a fort base, deny a creep tumor. But the Liberator really only has one purpose, and that often is to take out a couple of drones at a third or in a natural. And if that doesn't go so well, that's the end of the Lib, honestly. You already took a lot of damage on it. You'll need to send it home right now and start getting it repaired. That means that there's no more air pressure coming in, and Rattata can completely focus on dealing with the initial Hellions. And as the Hellions also got sent back, and Rattata is aware of that, he should be feeling very comfortable right now in this early game, going up to 68, I think, 65, 66 workers. Double Evo Chambers, and oddly positioned Evo Chambers, by the way. Not super common to see something like that. A lair is being built as well. It's actually already finished, and we have 6 gas. So I'm feeling Spire vibes here. It does feel like it's going to be that Muraling Bane that I've already alluded to earlier. It is something that Rattata feels comfortable with. It's something that he's good with. He's of course capable of playing other things as well. Just pure Ling Bane off of 4 gas. It's actually going to be a Hydra then. 6 gas Hydra then. That is a rare sight to see. Alright, I'm not super familiar with how good his Hydra Ling Bane play is, but he's probably going to be playing it off a rather low drone count. I'm thinking 76, 78, because in my mind he just is an aggressive player that likes to push, that likes to try and kill opponents rather than take it to that late game. Well, these helmets are just going to get taken out, no real struggle here for Rattata. Queen's doing a good job, Ling Bane will take care of the rest. And the creep spread continues on as well. We have that Liberator once again coming in. There's still no Spore at this base. 7 more drones on the way, going up to 79. And now the decision kind of needs to be made whether he wants to continue getting more drones, go up to like 85, 86, up to like 7, 8 gases, quickly go into Hive and Lurkers. Or if the plan is to be a little bit more aggressive on a lower worker count. Well, 79 is not really a lower work count, but it's not those super high counts where you often see these extra gases already being taken and the transition into the late game starting. 5th base will be built, no matter what. Hatchery will go down, of course, providing these extra larvae. An infestation pit also already starting. These banelings actually get a couple of connections as the creep continues spreading on. Clem lifting a bunch of these marines into the medevacs. At home he is building a couple of tanks already. We see 3 tanks out, excuse me. Did not see that 3rd one in the mineral line there. Liberator once again going in right now. Should be capable of getting at least 1 or 2 workers. Let's take a look at that first person view. It seems like Rattata was very well aware of what was happening. Does not lose a single worker. At the same time, he's also in position to deal with this. And we actually see Rattata taking a little bit of a lead right now. About 20 supply up. Has not really taken any major damage. Has not really taken any minor damage either, honestly. He just hasn't taken that much damage. A couple of creep tumors now are going to get taken out. That's annoying, but as all the queens still seem to be alive, they can just be rebuilt immediately at no cost whatsoever, except a little bit of energy. Another scan here out of Clem. This is the only problematic area, perhaps, where there's really not that much creep, but it's also not that important of an area. We're really looking at creep tumors near that 5th base. Well, them not being there, that might actually be an issue, but I don't think this general area is going to be too important in this game. Clem starts moving out with the tanks as well. Might want to hit a 2-2 timing here. We see both the +2 infantry weapons and the infantry armor is about to finish in, 25? More like 30-ish seconds. He wants to probably set up at this watchtower. Yeah, the fact that there's not a single layer of creep tumors here, not a single line, does make this move out a little bit easier. Clem's kind of late with the siege up, and all of these tanks are just going to get taken out here. Banelings connect with the tanks. That's not exactly what Rattata wants. There's still a lot of banelings in the back though. +2 infantry weapons just finished up. There's no real splash here whatsoever. Good target fired out of Clem. Takes out every single baneling so far. A couple of these might end up connecting though, and Rattata does get the cleanup, and a pretty darn good cleanup as well. First Viper on the way already. Adaptive Talents being constructed. Seismic Spines already queued up as well. This is the most Zerg move that I've ever seen. Imagine a Terran player or a Protoss player just queuing up the charge while starting the blink. This is a luxury, my friends. This is something that only people with a lot of money can do. And Zerg players tend to have a lot of money in this matchup. Of course, the timing of that Seismic Spine is so important that you don't want any downtime there. But starting both of them at the same time in one lurker then, yeah, that is pushing the limits a little bit. You're gonna get called out for that. You definitely will be. Triple Queen will start attacking these tanks, and I think 2 queens will fall before they even get the first tank. Rattata realizes, hey, wait a second, I think I can just take out these tanks with all my links, as Clem's not really in position with enough bio to truly defend those tanks. This is a very action-packed game, but so far all of the action has been very favorable for Rattata here. Still, the only thing that he really seems to be lacking is that creep threat on the right side, and honestly also on the left. It's just not that hot overall, his creep threat. Does have seismic spines already. Adrenal glands is also on the way, and we have our first 9 lurkers currently being morphed in an aggressive position. With that single Viper there, if the tank count isn't high, this could be a real issue. Rattata is setting up for an attack, and it's an attack that I don't really think Clem is ready for. If that Viper just moves forward right now, you could either Blinding Cloud or... Oh, Blinding Cloud on the Planetary instead. I kind of like that move as well. More lurkers moving forward right now. Seismic Spine still not done yet. It's kind of frustrating here. Had Rattata waited for 10-15 more seconds, this fight could have been a lot better. Ends up losing 4 or 5 lurkers before the siege truly begins. A little bit frustrating there. Still going to be in a good position. Scans are going to be hard to come by. You see there's currently just a single scan available. And that's being used right now. Clem needs to kill these lurkers at this moment. And if he doesn't, I mean, he just won't have any detection. No, there's one more. I can't count. My apologies. Must have been at the 3rd base then. Did not check that properly. These lurkers are going to get taken out. At the same time, we have a massive run by with Hydra, Ling, and Banelings in the back end of that as well. We'll most likely try to get in there. Adrenal Glands Lynx will take out a lot of these tanks. At the same time, Clem moving in with a large portion of his bio. Tries to snipe this base. We'll get the base. Lurkers are not in position in time. We'll get to burrow and take out maybe some of these medevacts with the Hydras. 22 workers have gone down on the side of Clem though. So although he killed 1 base, he's still down by about, well, 35-ish workers. He has a crap eco. He has a crappy orbital count. Does have 5 tanks at this point, making his position a little bit more stable. But I'm not quite sure if it is stable enough. As 8 more lurkers are on the way, we already have 2 out. There's a single Viper. Ghosts are starting to get produced as well, which is important. Ghost, of course, very useful unit against Vipers, against lurkers, against Hydralisk, against Lynx, and against Banelings. And if they were to build Roaches or Ultras, Ghosts are also good against that. Or Infestors, of course, Ghosts also counter those. If they move forward with Queens, Ghosts are kind of good against that as well. They deal rather well with Ravagers too. Overseers never have been an issue for Ghost either. It's really a very all-around unit. So yeah, getting more of these definitely is going to be a good call. This is the good start of an engagement here for Rattata. Gets the Blinding Cloud off and continues moving forward with these lurkers, kind of leapfrogging with that lurkers into those siege tanks. At the same time, Ling Bane attack into the 3rd base. Clem not paying attention is going to lose 20 workers immediately. 5th base gets denied as well from landing, and this game is looking pretty bad for the French Terran player right now. GG gets called as Rattata wins game number 1 in this best of 3 with some honestly brilliant mid game. Like this was... His creep threat wasn't great, but his early game was great, and he just kind of leveraged that advantage into a mid-game, early-late game win. We'll be heading into game number 2 of this best of 3. Game number 2 over here on a hardwire. As we have Clem opening, as always, with his standard SCV scout, marching across the map, looking to figure out what his opponent is doing, and just drilling some minerals and then going back home perhaps. Clem is very keen on always figuring out what's happening. He does not want to be surprised by any type of Zerg trickery. And Vanya is a tricky player. Likes the Roach Rush. This is a map where we could be seeing it. Cheeky Roach Rush and 7-8 Roaches. Maybe just like a 3-base Roach push as well. I think like 1-1. Trying to hit that 3rd base over here. If Clem ends up taking this as a 3rd, which I kind of assume he's going to be doing. Ooh. Wanted to build that 2nd Marine, but kind of changed his mind there. Interesting to see. I wonder what triggered that. Sometimes I wish we could just, look into someone's brain to figure out why they did the things they did. Then at other times I wish no one would ever pick my brain to figure out why I do what I do, and you'd realize that the process would not be very sophisticated at all. Mainly, most of the time it kind of has something to do with me flipping a coin before the game and then deciding what to do. And then mid-game, me going, oh, maybe I should do something else instead. Then I'll do something else. Where it comes from, I'm not so sure. Ooh, what is this? This is a command center. Fast triple command center. Maybe 2nd barracks? We don't have a second gas yet. No starport either. Tech lab is already being built. It kind of feels like there's going to be a second barracks at some point. Maybe right now? Or maybe you want 2 more cars? It's going to be 6 cars, isn't it? Very interesting. I'm quite interested in this. This is kind of odd. He might actually play 3 racks or something like that. It's getting in... Wait, double eBay? Okay, I've never seen this build in my entire life. What in the world am I watching? He's going to be hitting a super tight 1-1 timing. No, actually, this is the build that Hero Marine played against Rainer on this map as well, I think. In Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. That was the game 3, which I think Hero Marine should have won. A very similar build order. It might be exactly the same. I remember thinking at that point, this is brilliant. You're going to be hitting such a tight timing. Initially with 1-1, and then the 1-1 timing is not that special, right? Like, it's fast and that's great, but you're not going to be able to do a lot of damage with it or do a lot with it. The real timing comes off of the 2-2, which is going to hit like a freaking brick. Often the Zerg will be on 1-1 for a very long time while you already have your 2-2. There's no stim started yet, right? No, it's not finished yet. Double gas being taken in the natural right now. And I think Rattata is going to be scouting this. And although he'll see this barracks timing, I'm not so sure if he knows exactly what this means. Does he know that this is double eBay as a start? He decides to play lair before Evo chambers. Huh. I am not entirely sure what this is... like, if Rattata is supposed to know right now, or if there are any other things that Clem could be doing with these kind of delayed double barracks. We have a starport going down right now. An armory should start soon as well. I can only imagine. Yep, there goes starport. This build is so well timed out, by the way. This looks beautiful. Absolutely fantastic build order. Third is flying over already. It is good eco. You have some map control with these Hellions. Yes, it's not entirely safe. If there's some type of Ling Bane bust, if there's some type of Roach all-in, you don't have any Banshees, you don't have a lot of Marines very quickly, you're most likely going to die. It's a greedy build into a very all-in-ish type of play. But of course you can also play this without an all-in. You can also just go into a more standard game while just being up in upgrades. But I do believe we're initially going to be seeing some type of 2-2 timing attack. I'd be extremely surprised if Clem is just going to play his standard game and rush out 2-2, rush out 3-3. I'd find that weird, honestly. I'd also be surprised if we would see a reactor. Yeah, it's going to be a tech lab. This makes absolute sense. If you're going to do some type of timing, tanks are the way to do it. So it's going to be hitting with 2, maybe 3 tanks. Does not want to be losing these Hellions. These Hellions could have also been used in the push as Hellbats, of course. And there's a lot of Marines out already. I wonder if he's going to march across the map with these, or if he's just kind of keen on just going with 16. I think he's just going to drop with 16. You could do an initial bigger push, but yeah, it's just going to be a double drop with the 1-1 upgrades though. So yeah, this actually is still going to be quite strong. No combat shield starting yet. That has to be a mistake here out of Clem. That combat shield is going to be absolutely vital for his push. Now, he still has some time to start it, and it's not super important right now. These 1-1 Marines are going to trade rather well, no matter what, if they actually do get to unload at some point. Okay, here comes combat shield. Second tank needs to start ASAP. Yeah, I think he's going to be getting 3 tanks with his push. 3 tanks with the push, 2-2 upgrades. He's going to be hitting a powerful timing, and his main goal is going to be just denying creep for now. Look at that. These Marines are so powerful. 1-1 will finish up right now for Rattata, who should feel somewhat comfortable in his initial hold. He's getting Hydralisk once again, so similar opener, similar start. I actually think this start has too many links. I believe that Rattata might actually be heading into an all-in himself. He's not adding any extra drones. He's getting these extra upgrades, but this kind of feels all-in, no? 71 workers? Okay, Clem actually is adding 3 barracks right now, so he'll go up to 8 racks. Yeah, this is super all-in. He's definitely setting up for some type of 8 racks, 2-2 timing, 11 Marines being built at a time right now. I wonder if So maybe this is the correct call out of Rattata, realizing what's happening, sets up a Link Bane counterattack as well. This tends to be the correct play against this, as long as you don't mess up any of the fights in a major way and you're cutting off reinforcements. That tends to be kind of good here for the Zerg player. Look at that target fire. So ballsy, gets every single Baneling before they get to connect with any of these Marines. Now Lynx will still be capable of taking out the Marines in the end anyway. At the same time, we have a big engagement here out of Rattata. Will lose a lot of the Banelings and actually kind of loses the fight here. That is somewhat surprising. I thought this was going to be a good fight, but the upgrades on the Marines definitely putting in the work right now. 2-2 against the 1-1. And this is what the early eBays were for. Look at this. Stimming forward, 6 medevacs here as well. There's not a single Baneling done, and you know once these Banelings finish that Clem is just going to target them down without any real issue. At least that's kind of what I'm expecting. Look at that target fire here. 1, 2. Okay, takes out 2 and then decides to pick up. Yeah, these Banelings are not going to get the connections that they need. I think Clem just won the game. I don't think that is something that Rattata expected. Honestly, it's not something that I expected. And I had the full information, the full observer view, and I could not make that call. So that fight looked pretty okay. Partially off creep, I guess, and that sucks, but yeah, should not have been the end of the world. 3-3 on the way already for Clem. GG gets called out of Rattata, and Clem wins game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. As we head into our final game of the best of 3. Clem once again opening up with that fast SCV scout. We do see a slight change up. Well, a slight change up. A massive change up. Clem is doing something different. Something very different. This is a reactor first into double marine. Rattata is overstaying his welcome with his overlord. He's going to send it back right now. I think that's dead. I think that's a dead overlord here, Rattata. I don't think you're going to be in time. Clem can rush towards that and probably take it out. No, it's going to be real close. Let's see if Rattata's just looking at it. I'd be so nervous right now. Oh. It's going to be pretty close, no? No, actually, he just makes it. No problem. Wow. I did not think he was going to be able to make it home that easily. I really thought he was going to die. Okay, let's pop into the first person of our good friend Clem for a little bit. He's opening up with, once again, 1 gas. Ooh, what is this? Armory? And a Reaper. But no starport. Okay, I've never seen this build in my life. So he wants to run across the map with these 4 Marines. Maybe he wants to just snipe something. These Hellions are going to be coming out. This Reaper is going to join in the fight as well. If he takes out 1 Overlord, that could be kind of big already. Look how blind he is as well. He's just going, man. He's just going right now. We see in the production tab, no extra links on the way yet. Okay. I mean, the armory is about to finish up. There's going to be 4 Hellions, and those will turn into Hellbats. This 1 Overlord should be dead, right? Yeah, it's dead. There's just a lot of links on the way already. This push needs to deal some serious damage. Like, this is no joke. This is not a joke, guys. This is a serious push. And needs to deal serious damage. Why is there 2 queens in the main? Unbelievable. 2 queens in the main there. Will come down. Good control on those queens so far. This really does not seem to be much of an issue here for Rattata. Rattata says, oh, it's nice and all that you're building a bunch of units, but I have 5 queens, mate. 5 queens can take on an infinite amount of marines, an infinite amount of hellbats as well, as long as there's no medevac with it. Throws down a Roach Warren as a response. And there is a possibility here that the follow-up is just going to be a Roach push. This Overlord is going to head towards the main base. We will get caught before it actually gets there. This Overlord kind of exposed. So Rattata afraid of more links. Sorry, more marines coming in. It's not going to happen, obviously. 2 more barracks on the way as well. 3rd CC also down here. And it feels like Rattata in a pretty okay position to drone up right now. I really believed he would be further ahead. This Roach Warren also feels more like a safety Roach Warren than an aggressive one. He's building blind spores at this point. And that could be painful for him, because there's not going to be any air unit coming for him anytime soon. Kind of is forced to build those blind spores, of course, if he does not have any information whatsoever. Links are going to get bounced away. And these Hellions, if they get 4 or 5 more kills here, I think are going to be very, very happy with himself. So this is very solid stuff. This is very, very solid stuff. 10 worker kills there. Now, of course, does end up losing all of those cars, and 13 more workers get built basically immediately. What's the timing on the first 2 medevacs going to be? Okay, reactor on the way, that's going to be 36 seconds. Then we have medevacs of 30 seconds. So medevacs are going to pop at like 6:50ish or so. Something along those lines. Move across the map. So Rattata has still 7:10, 7:15 to drone up, get the units that he wants. Maybe get a baneling nest out. It feels like this roach horn has been extremely useless so far. Okay, he's gonna play 1-1 roach. I've been talking about it this entire series. He loves roaches. And this is a small map. This is the perfect map for the roach. This is where the roach shines. Well, roaches never really shine. It's always a nasty looking unit. Probably smelly as well. And the roaches in StarCraft 2 don't even survive a nuclear missile. So it really is a terrible unit to look at. Terrible thing to have. Vanya is going to be, Rattata is going to be building a bunch of these. As, yeah, he's getting into those 1-1 upgrades. We have tank production already starting. There's 2 tanks out already. I kind of like Clem's position here. We'll fly across the map with at least 1 medevac for now. Ooh, has a second tech lab. I think he's aware of what's happening. A second tech lab indicates that he's aware of what's happening and he wants to start Marauder production with these tanks. Did he scout? Yeah, he scouted the roach horn, of course. So I guess that's where this comes from. Concussive shells on the way. We see a Viking as well being built here. Probably to take out overseers that would otherwise provide high ground vision. There's a couple of Ravagers here. Could get sniped. We see that jump forward here out of Clem. Takes out 1 Ravager and moves back. Ling run by heading towards this 3rd base. But Marines are in position. This factory will get cancelled. And a lot of tanks get revealed as well. I don't think Rattata is going to be too happy with this. Seeing all of that. It's like, can I still make my push? Well, it doesn't really matter whether he can make his push. He needs to start pushing at this point. Like he's invested in this. This is not an easy strategy to transition out of unless your name is Dark. This is, yeah, it's going to be quite painful here. And I don't actually see this work. I'm having a very difficult time seeing this work. Bunkers being constructed as well. 2 tanks will be on the low ground. The 2 tanks on the high ground almost feel useless. This is kind of a bold play here, Clem. Is this the correct play? I don't know if it is. Because this attack is happening right now. And these units are going to take a while to start dealing some real damage. Like, if you lose your tanks on the low ground, if you lose 10, 15 SCVs, yeah, that would suck. Boost back immediately. But you much rather would have had these here already. Bunkers going to get biled down as well. A couple of first tank will fall. More balls raining down from the sky. Second tank is going to fall. Tanks on the high ground will be practically useless as well right now. Roach Ravager taking out 24 workers so far. Clem in a lot of trouble. Needs to clean up this army and needs to deal damage in the counterattack if he wants to stay in this game. Rattata continuing to build more and more roaches. 15 more on the way. Using these biles to zone away the Marine Marauder, trying to get his units back home in a safe manner. These 2 tanks on the high ground, practically useless in that last fight. 4th base is done for Clem, which is huge, which is big, as well as his +2 and his vehicle weapons on the way. Rattata continuing to attack here, saying, hey, I know that your army is near my creep, so good luck defending. But, well, it's still a decent chunk of bio actually at home. It's going to be pretty useful here. No tanks once again on the low ground. The CC actually falling pretty low right now. And a bit of a surround here on these roaches and ravagers. Rattata in some major trouble here. Going to lose a lot of supply for, well, honestly nothing. Yeah, this trade was not good. The killing the 25 workers was good. He was running the queens across the map, but that makes no sense. You can't even transfuse anymore off creep. A lot of these queens might be in trouble. 3 queens do fall, I think. No, only 2 end up falling there. 20 more roaches on the way. 4th base is already done for Rattata. Does not have 2 started yet. Is not getting a Hydra then. Is not getting an infestation pit. No infestors. No lurkers on the way. This is pure roach. And the supplies are scarily even here. Well, scarily if you're a Zerg player. Clem with the orbital command as a 4th base. Probably just wants to add a couple of mules for now. Does not really feel too keen on taking that fort. That's actually going to start flying it over. I'm surprised. It's just going to spread him quite thin against this all-in play out of Rattata. Still have those 2 tanks on the high ground. 7 and 5 kills respectively. Scan, a very important scan here out of Clem. Clem wanted to make some moves most likely, but he just scanned, saw the lack of a hive and says to himself, hey, if there's no hive, what really can you have? And the answer is roaches or roach hydra, but there's no threat of lurkers. There is, I guess there's infestors, but also somewhat unlikely. I actually think that Clem is in a very good position right now. All he needs to do is hold on, and so far he's doing a marvelous job at that. He has 2-2. He's going to be at a massive upgrade advantage for the next, honestly, minute and a half. And Hive still is ages away here. Absolutely ages away for Rattata. Don't even think there's an infestation pit yet. No, it does not seem to be the case. Don't think you can run up that ramp though, Clem. I think an infestation pit here, couple of infestors, is the most natural transition. And then trying to get into lurkers eventually. But, I mean, a 2-2 push with a big tank army, 7-8 tanks, is going to be hard to hold here. Even without the tanks, this bio is training pretty darn well already. I mean, Marines with 2-2 upgrades. Tanks in the back here dealing a lot of damage as well. Oh my god, Rattata, all of this is going to die. And if this dies, then this army also is in some major trouble. I think this might actually be it, as these Ravagers are going to fall. There's nothing tanking anymore. Rattata's supply absolutely plummeting right now. 26 more roaches on the way, but he's still down in supply. And if you're down in supply, you're down in upgrades. And your army composition is pure roach against 9 tanks. Yes, you're absolutely dead. Clem stimming forward, just taking out Ravager after Ravager. The tanks in the back dishing out a lot of damage as well, and this is going to be it. After a fantastic start out of Rattata, and honestly a good second game as well, where he just takes one bad fight off creep and thus loses the game. It seems like time has run out for our Russian Zerg player, as Clem is here to pick up the win, pick up the victory in this best of 3, and Rattata just needs to accept defeat at this point. There's nothing that he can do. Losing his fort base was painful. GG gets called, Clem indeed wins, and that is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye bye.